You can now build absolutely crazy looking websites using AI. This website that you see in front of you, I generated using Claude in a matter of seconds, and I now built a system whereby I can generate hundreds of these, thousands of these in just a matter of minutes. And it's so easy now that we have Claude Fable 5. Like, I can literally show you how to build a website that looks like this within a minute or two. It's just that simple, and people are so mesmerized as to how it could look so cool. And they often like to throw around on Instagram and TikTok that these are $7,000 websites, $10,000 websites, when they really shouldn't cost you more than 20 bucks. Because even though it has a nice scrolling animation to it, really all it takes is one single AI prompt. And especially now that Claude Fable 5 came out, this whole thing became super easy. At Opus 4.8, it still required a bit of work on your own to really pinpoint exactly what it should look like, but literally I just gave Claude Fable 5 one prompt and it one shot at the entire website. If you want the full-on guide on how to set this up, make sure you check out our school. It's absolutely 100% free, and I post in there a lot of these guides that I talk about in these videos, all the prompts, and it's just a nice little place for y'all to sit down, relax, and chat. So check it out. The link is down below. But to not waste any more time, how to do this. Let's not waste any time on this. The whole idea is you take any sort of clip, and you can of course also decide for it to be a picture. You split it into frames. One prompt to Claude, it writes the whole scroll set for you, and literally that is it. Now we, at least as far in the video, base it off of the Apple style page, and that's because Apple sometimes there's a really nice scrolling animation in here where you go through a laptop or through a device. But really, when you take a look at any one of these scroll websites that you see, or all the ones that people like to showcase, actually on my specific website, I also have a little button for it. On the bottom right, it says record walkthrough. Why? Because I see so many people covering their website with a perfect scroll and whatnot. I made a system where I can actually make it a little bit faster, a little bit slower, or preview what the scroll would look like. And so here you can see, for example, it actually does it on its own. Now the timing is a bit off because I didn't really optimize for it. And my system, as you can see from this page right here, is actually built up from a repeatable thing. Now let's actually break this down though. What are we looking at? The website we are looking at right now, I will click the scroll on my wheel piece by piece. And let's take a look at the top right. It says 1% right now. If I keep scrolling a little bit more, it says 2% now. Not really much has changed. If I keep scrolling a bit more, this says 3%, and depending, of course, on what speed I put it on. Right now, I keep scrolling 4%. This is 9%, for example, 11%, 15%. So essentially, what's going on is you take any one video, because all I took was some sort of video that I generated with AI of a volcano erupting. As you can see right here, I made sure it has some sort of nice ring in the middle because then we can have some cool text in there to kind of explain something about the ring. And I made sure the prompt also resulted in it going back to the origin. Now, of course, I could make this have 10 different phases, and instead of only having a nice little circle where it explains things, you know, in this case also on the side it explains something, it could explain things for 10 different phases. It just depends on how deep you want your scroll website to be. It's about the essence here. I could, for example, also have more text on this eruption, whatever. The core idea still is that all we're doing is we are telling our Claude that we want to take any sort of clip, break it down, split it up into a set amount of frames, for example, 120 different frames. It just depends on how long your prompt is, depends on how long your video is, you should say, or the other way around, to reverse engineer it, we take a picture or we take a concept, we go to Nano Banana Pro and generate a picture with that. That's actually what I did. I do it all in Claude because I can, but I could actually go to Nano Banana Pro, generate a picture of a freaking banana. Then I take that picture I generated with Nano Banana Pro, put it into Seedance or whatever, and say, make this banana dance, explode into a, I don't know, something, like a piñata or whatever, and then come back to being a normal banana. That's all I have to write in, and I get some sort of clip back. Now, I've got some tips on exactly what type of prompt you should probably give it so that your video looks a bit nicer, and we'll cover that in just a second. But essentially, all we're doing is we are splitting up this video into multiple different frames that we, at a set speed, can then scroll through. That's what all these guys are doing. It's really not any really difficult, crazy code. It's just a video split up into many different frames that you scroll through. And just to quickly not waste anybody's time, here's the prompt that can get you started with this whole debacle. And actually, let's break it down a bit as to how you get the right video. You gotta pick a clip that pops out. And that's actually in the funny sense and the literal sense. If it's not something that kind of goes out there. Okay, for fun, I decided to generate something else. Here's something else. Ooh. All right, can't trust the sound on these things no more. Here's something else that just quickly generated to just showcase something that kind of pops. Not my favorite, but this type of thing could work for our website, right? Because there's a couple of different scenes inside of it. Or we could take an igloo here, because what I've done for the volcano, I also decided to do for an igloo. Matter of fact, it was actually the opposite way around, where I did the igloo first, and then decided a volcano could actually be cooler. You can see the sort of generation that it did. It's kind of similar in essence. Anyway, make sure you have something that kind of breaks up or reveals into something or morphs. And this is kind of a little guide on how you can make a better prompt in case you're doing the AI generation. But you could actually also just do it by recording it yourself if you were to want to. I'm just giving out some tips. As I said before, you got to split that video then up as step 2 into frames. The amount of frames kind of depends, but here you see a 5-second clip is about 120 frames. The scroll side flips through those images as you scroll, so the folder of frames is what makes the effect work. You do not need any command line steps to get it. And you can actually build a really easy system where Claude automatically does this for you, where it just generates any sort of website that you want with any sort of different assets and maybe a color palette that it decides from your brand colors or something like that. Like I said before, the one prompt, build me a single self-contained HTML file, which is a scroll website that flips through these frames as I scroll. It's an Apple product page style. Start with an intro screen, a big headline, a short tagline, and a scroll queue. Then a full screen sticky section where my scroll position drives which frame shows, and then a short caption that fades in as the clip finishes. Load the frame from a folder called frames, clean, no code for me to touch. And if you are running this prompt on Fable 5 right now, this has got the highest likelihood of already on its own being something pretty amazing. And here's the thing, maybe your one prompt does not exactly look like my volcano thing straight at the bat, but tell Fable 5 to optimize it, or, and this is actually the kicker, just give it websites that you really like and tell it to recreate it just start by recreating it exactly bar for bar, just copy it exactly. And by doing that once, you can actually let Fable come up with a system for making it replicable. So as I stated here in step 4, make it yours by talking. Like I said, it may not be perfectly how you want it straight away. It's about the core concept that it's a scroll website that's basically a video split up into frames. But hey, you know what? I want the headline to be changed to this. Use these colors instead of those. Even though my AI takes care of it itself, I'm just saying you can, of course, make it to your exact own liking if this is, for example, for a client, or maybe you'd want it to look better on the phone, so you start optimizing for phone compatibility, because that's one thing that a lot of people like to complain about. Or perhaps you want a certain thing to show up once it finishes, or you want this to actually be double as long. All this stuff is customizable. All you have to understand is that it's a video taken up, split up, a normal MP4 just split up into different clean frames. And again, you don't have to do this yourself. You don't have to sit there framing everything. All you have to do is just either tell Claude to build an engine, like for example, the page you see right here. And I actually have a couple of more deeper engines where you can customize a ton of things. An example is this right here. There's a full scroll through section on the left, but you can't fully see it. But here's the idea. I can customize everything that I want. Maybe I want a lot more frames. Maybe I want the quality to be different. Maybe I have different accents that I'd like, or specific differences that I'd like. This is not for my final result, and actually this was done with Opus 4.8 here. This is just to give you some sort of idea that you can actually let Claude build out entire engines, so you can actually turn this into something that, theoretically speaking, you really could churn out pretty quickly and start selling to people, because I really still think that this is something that's kind of underdeveloped still. There's so many people still that would want a website like this, and always they talk about it costing $6,000, $7,000, whatever. You can make it for 15 cents. I don't know. It takes 10 seconds. So a little tip from your boy Dusty over here. Do not, and this is a personal piece of advice, not financial advice, of course, keep inserting your MP4s into Claude. You're going to waste a lot of tokens just letting it go through the video, or maybe you can't even do it depending on what you've covered inside of your Claude, depending on what you've got set up. What you should do is you ask it where, this is probably what your Claude will already say, but still, you can ask it where exactly you should be inserting the video. Because what I've done is I basically have this HTML that you just saw, where all I have to do is go to that webpage and drop the clip in. It'll automatically go towards the right folder inside of my computer where it needs to be, or at least load up by knowing where to point. But anyway, I can sit here talking about this for hours. The whole core concept is just go ahead and try it out. I've given you the rules right now. That idea that Claude can actually build these websites and all it takes is a couple of seconds and a Claude subscription, that's actually literally it. Not as hard as you may think it is. It really isn't. All it takes is like 1 or 2 different prompts. And I've given you those prompts here right now. If you also want a tutorial on how to actually generate them over on Higgsfield or any sort of other AI platform, I can show it to you, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever been able to generate any sort of picture or video, it's literally as simple as that. And you can actually insert into your Claude also the Higgsfield MCP or something like that to make this all more automatic if you were to want to. But that's all customizations and optimizations. Most important thing is just start trying these things out. Make sure you press that like button if you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you guys again in another AI type of guide somewhere later today, because there's a lot that still needs to be covered.